as Brian is on holiday. Very thoughtful of it. So we start the apologies for absence, please.
We've got Councillor Monk, who is poorly.
Councillor Mead is away.
And
Councillor
Councillor
Mewis.
Mewis is on.
Anyone else missing?
Not right now.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay. Does anyone have any declarations of interest? No? Okay. Evacuation procedures. Should we need to evacuate, there's an escape door there where you can also go down the main stairs, and we muster in the car park only by the community centre. Okay. Okay, moving on to our presentation from S Mills, the Site Loss Wayfinding Project. So all yours.
Introduce ourselves very quickly.
Yeah, you introduce yourself. I'll just get a presentation.
I'm Alice Jennings, I'm the High Street Programme Manager at South Gloss. And I'm Sarah Mill, I've been project manager on this project, I'm working in the generation team. And yeah, we received funding to support pedestrian signposting for our high streets in South Gloucestershire. We got it from WECA, from Shared Prosperity Fund. So there was a kind of finite amount of money, and we're kind of covering as many of the high streets as we can, mainly covering their core areas. And I think that's it. I'll pass over to Jodie from Street Manager.
Hi, I'm Jodie Savicus from Atkins Realis, and we're supporting South Gloucestershire on the Wayfinding project. So, shall
I just give me a moment?
I think
who's
in
so
charge?
much?
I see.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your own?
I'll do it over there, and then when it comes to handing out and stuff.
I can make things as
That's
well.
fine.
Okay, so these slides are just to give you a bit of a presentation of what we're going to share with you today. So a bit of an introduction. As Sarah said, South Gloucestershire Council have gained some funding to look at wayfinding solutions for high streets around South Gloucestershire. Some of you may remember about this time last year, we came and introduced the project to members of the community, just to sort of give an overview of what the project will involve. And we're working with 6 high streets across South Gloucestershire, so Thornbury, Chipping Sodbury, Hanham Down End, Staple Hill and Filton. Yate and Kingswood are also in the project, but to be dealt with separately as part of other wider projects. So the progress so far, this time last year, October, we engaged with the High Street Partnerships and just discussed general principles about what to include in wayfinding around our high streets. We carried out a survey, which was online, and we also went out on streets to capture people and ask them questions about what they want to see in their wayfinding, so what types of places they want us to look at to sign. And then at the end of 2023, early 24, we developed a wayfinding strategy, which then developed concepts and have a bit of an idea of where the signs are going to be placed in each high street. We shared those concepts and the placements with the High Street Partnerships in February. And then from April onwards, we've been working on all of the detailed designs that take into account all of the feedback that we had from stakeholders and the public to work towards the solutions that we've got today.
Excuse me, could you put it in the presentation room?
Yes, of course, yeah. There we go. So the general principles that we've established for the wayfinding across all the high streets, we're really highlighting the areas of activity and interest. We're not naming any individual businesses because we want these to be sort of in the ground for quite a long time, and we don't want to be changing things when businesses change. We're using pictograms. We'll be sharing some examples later of the types of images that we use on signing. And importantly, is just to note that it is a pedestrian wayfinding system, so it's not signposting to direct traffic to car parks and things like that. But having said that, we have got some high streets where we've got signage within car parks to direct people on foot to the high streets from there. So the purpose of today's engagement, so we want to present to you the colour schemes and the key destinations that we're proposing to signpost in Filton, show the placement of the signs and the content of each of those signs, and look at the local and the wider maps to be included on the totem elements of the products. Then we can have an initial discussion, anything that immediately comes to mind, but we plan to send you all of the concepts and the placements and the maps so you can have a good old look and then send us back comments afterwards. We are working to quite a tight programme, so ideally we'd like to have comments sort of collated and back to us within a week of this meeting. So the colour scheme that was selected for Filton by stakeholders and the community was this green scheme. Eagle-eyed people might notice that it does say Chipping Salisbury, but it is for Filton, this colouring. And the places to be signed there are just the places that are going to be signed on the finger posts, which is the product on the far right-hand side. The mapping on the totem, which is on the left-hand side, contains more destinations than those listed on the left there. But those are the main sort of destinations that are listed on the finger post sign. We've got a limited budget, so if there is anything that you think that we've missed and we need to include, then it might have to be at the exchange of something else, so that we can make sure that, you know, the budget fits to the amount of slats there are on the finger posts. So the sign placement and the content, you'll notice that it's sort of focused around the Shield Retail Centre and the Church Road area. This is because it's highlighted in planning documents as the principal high street for Filton. We do know that there are lots of different bits of Filton and lots of different centre areas, and the aspiration eventually would be to expand it out to other parts of Filton, but we've got to start somewhere, so this is where we're focusing. If you notice, the rectangles are what's the map totem, so the big long plinth with the maps on it, and those destinations are within those, and the circles are the finger posts that have got the pointing slats to them. So these are the things that we'll be sending you. I've also put on there that there is space on the totems in the information boards for historical and local information. So if there is anything that you'd like us to include on that, then please send it over to us and we can see if we can include it. The local map, we'll be handing out some of those in just a sec, so you can have a look, and we will send all of this to you so you can have a look in more detail, because that's far too small on the screen there. And then the wider map takes in much more of the neighbourhood as well. I'll quickly just go on to next steps, and then we can hand out some of the materials. So, as I say, we'll be collating comments from the group within a week of us sending you the materials. We'll make those final adjustments and as a result of the comments that we've received, and then we'll be working on all of the artwork for the signage to be developed in November, December this year, and then implementing early next year, by March, the end of March next year. So what we'll do is we'll hand out some of the materials that we've done through.
I thought it was I was going to say something about the historical information. If you did have ideas of any photographs, it's for the totems really. So there's a totem in Shield Road, and there's one on the other side of the road from the community garden. They need to be kind of JPEGs. They need to, it can't just be like a slip on one page. So if there is any ideas, we definitely want to.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what you
There's is it worth us mentioning some of the feedback from this morning?
Yeah, so we met with the High Street Partnerships earlier this morning, and they gave us some good feedback. One of the things they said, let's not call the leisure centre activation, that's it. And let's just call it Filton Leisure Centre because that's what people know it as. So that's a change that we can make. What's the other one?
I think on one of the maps, one of the shopping areas was at Filton Avenue, wasn't a brown
Yeah,
marked out.
yeah, so on the wider map, which is the more zoomed out version, Filton Avenue currently isn't marked as a shopping area, but we will mark that on there. Same with Conager Road on the wider map as well. We'll mark in the rank of shops on Conager Road, although the Conager Road one is on the more zoomed in map. So we'll include that. We'll also include a pictogram of a pub for the air balloon as well, because people can often use that as a good navigation tool to see, you know, which side of the roundabout you're on.
So there was a couple of ideas for the historical. Adam Monk suggested the laundry might be good to reflect if we've got any images of the old laundry at Shield Road, and obviously aerospace as well, but we'll take in any ideas, and it might be based on what we can find. I've sort of asked our heritage officer to help, but I think quite often a lot of these resources are held in the community, so you might have links to people that might have images or content that we could use. Someone sent us a leaflet of a walking guide that the Filton History Group did years ago. Someone sent that to me today, so we've got some stuff. It's the images that we're struggling with, really.
Filton Library have a lovely, they have a
Yes,
lovely.
they mentioned a book as well. Okay, thank you.
And another one that I just noted is changing Filton Community Centre finger post slat to include Filton Community and Youth Centres, so that it makes it clear that it is a youth centre as well. So those are the changes that we'll be making as a result of the meeting we had this morning. But feel free to have a good look and let us know if there's anything that springs to mind immediately.
Okay. Thanks for your presentation. Yes, just say anything, so Alex and then Dan.
Have you spoken with Airbus, BAE, large aerospace companies in the area, because they may have some images, obviously, of historical aircraft or sites that you can use?
Great sound.
Yeah.
Just, I suppose, if you are speaking to them, they may have funding to support rolling out over the larger area. But that's always, they do have these pots to help the local area and support, so.
Especially to point something out.
Yeah. I've got quite a few points on my chair. There was a kind of an artistic map done a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
How does that link into this? Is this just a replacement, or are we double working the same thing? It seems a little disconnected on that front, that we're putting more maps in, and we just had a map put in.
Yeah, so the creative maps are within some of the community notice boards. These products will sit separate to those and mainly point to the immediate sort of area around you. Whereas I think the creative maps kind of pick up the fact that Filton is quite polycentric and we've got different areas to go and explore. So we hope that they complement each other.
You talked about kind of not wanting to change it too often. Is it kind of modular, so you can obviously the finger posts are, so you can change those fairly easily, but the actual totems, is it kind of a printed picture behind not glass, but a
It is,
so you can
yeah.
slide out and put a new one in?
Yeah, it's all on vinyls and then, yeah, you can replace it.
You already said Filton Leisure Centre, not activation. I think there's probably a ecumenical discussion about which one and how that should be phrased. I think it's the majority known as Filton Leisure Centre, but
I think it was on the sign as I drove in, there's the brown sign on the air balloon that says leisure centre, and I thought, we talked this morning about whether it's sports centre, leisure centre. So if you, do you want to discuss that or come back to us on that one, really, on your thoughts?
Probably best to come back to you on that one.
Yeah.
any time with this new transport hub that's by the toilets? I
Yep.
guess it's going to have a signpost near it, but
It
is this
does, yeah.
within that project, or are they going to have their own signs as well, or? This is-
Yeah, so Mobility Hub has its own signage, but that's purely to sign to the facilities within that immediate area. On the hub. We're working on both projects and making sure that they comply.
Okay,
We haven't put one in there because we know one's going in there, if you know what I mean.
cool.
So,
Yeah, no, I just wondered, just you have one side here and two
Yeah.
Yeah.
conflicting. Just a point, if the air balloon hub is going in, then where do you kind of draw the line and see there's the flower literally just down the road from there?
Yeah.
But you've also got the Filton social something club down by Screwfix.
Yeah.
And something else. What's the kind of
Filton Social Club came up earlier, and I think.
It's members only, it was,
Yeah.
members only.
Yeah, so that was my thought of where
Yeah.
what may cause
Flowers a
people
good
to
one, yeah.
create issues on that one. And then I suppose there's a few other bits that what gets labelled further out that's beyond Filton itself. I can't remember what other centres you're doing on that one, but I suppose it's where the border crosses and it makes things are just over the border to signpost across to.
Do you mean where the sort of other
But like stuff,
libraries are?
yeah, stuff,
Like
stuff.
Bristol.
Yeah, signs to stuff in Hallfield or signs to stuff
Yeah.
in kind of, there's a little bit that's actually outside Filton at Southmead, all of those kind of things, I think you said, so the hospital's going.
Yeah, the map, on the map, the hospital, we went out and kind of moved it to make sure Southmead's included, and then also Parkway Station on the other side, because they were
Yeah.
deemed quite sort of important places that people might want to navigate to.
Yeah, so that's included in the wider map that will be on the totems
Yeah.
to sort of show. But yeah, the finger posts and the local map are to try to point people within walking distance of where they are.
Any, I guess, future proofing around Brabazon is CDC, and
Yeah.
that's just something that will evolve in a couple of years' time as it develops.
So we're going to ensure that we're picked up with them in terms of the signs that they're going to be putting in and ensure that it comes to account.
And then I think my last one was, do you have any kind of twinning content? Because that might be quite nice pictograms for the totems.
I can find out for you. We do have pictures and that. So I'll get some of those out for you.
Can you clarify what you mean? Sorry, I'm not
To filter twinning. so-
Right, okay, great.
Is it still Fitzenhausen? Yeah.
And some
I went on-
Valier.
yeah.
Some Valier.
I went to Filton High, so we did
Yeah.
an exchange to those places.
Thank you.
One more, Alex. Cool.
Anna was telling me about those exchanges earlier today, in fact.
Oh,
So,
right.
but I was gonna, on the, any of them really, is there any opportunity, particularly with keeping things updated, to include a static QR code, which then takes to a
Yes.
site, which then we could perhaps use for things like the creative map or news, sort of bulletins kind of thing, rather than having to keep placing. So is there an opportunity to include maybe
Yeah.
a static code?
That's planning to be put on the totems.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
and we just update that.
Yeah, I think it is that we need like the community to almost say, like the Thornbury, for example, they're quite keen to have, they've got a heritage trail, so they're quite keen that the QR code links to that. So if you've got a page already existing, so one thing we won't be able to do is host a page, so it's something that is in the community already that you think would be useful for people to, to find, then please feed that back to us and we can have a look.
But being mindful that, that site needs to keep kind of updated and useful and
I was thinking obviously a discussion for the council would propose that the town council could, as part of its own site, create that and then link to it. So, because then as part of our keeping our own website up to date, it would remain up to date. So, as long as that's not inappropriate to link to a council website, town council website.
No. If it's, I don't know, I suppose different areas might have different things, whether it's, trail or, just trying to have on it really. And it's, if there's a local history with all the history and then it's got all that background that people might want to find out more. Yeah, it could be anything really that's relevant, people might be interested in.
And the last one from that.
Yeah, sorry, another one. Just branding, I take it South Cross Council, or will there be kind of filter branding as well, or is it just kind of, I know you've got the colour schemes, but
It's,
The images, I don't think on anything.
it is South West Council, and then obviously the funder, you have to put funder logos on there as well. So, but the green was particularly chosen, I think, because obviously it is your colours, and you've got some other green products around in the community already. I think some of the things are green, so yeah.
Okay.
By the time I did put my finger up, I
Oh, sorry.
noticed, sorry. I was just going to ask, I noticed you've got St. Peter's Church on there, but none of the other churches indicated. Was that because St. Peter's is the historical parish church of Filton, or is that just?
No, it's purely because St Peter's is closest to where the finger posts are. So on the local maps and the wider maps, St Teresa's and St Andrew's are also on there as
Right,
well.
okay.
Yeah.
And I was going to have a similar question about the schools as well, because you've got the college on there. Was it?
Yeah, so it's all of the sort of education establishments are within the local map and the wider map. But yeah, just the pointing finger posts are
Yeah.
to point to sort of the closest destinations really.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Is this a smaller scale, or this one, is that?
Yes, that's a more zoomed in, so that's what we call the local map. And then there's,
Will it be larger, or will it be this size? Yeah,
No.
okay.
yeah.
Because have you shown, are these pedestrian crossings on the roads?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're crossing points that are existing ones, yeah.
Also, what is that a shopping trolley that's involved?
Yes, so if there's a retail or supermarkets, then absolutely brand.
Yeah, obviously it'll be big.
Yeah.
And the active nation, should it say Filton Town Council offices or not?
Yep, that'd be a good one. Probably should say Filton Council Office somewhere.
Okay.
Okay. Any more for anyone? No? Thanks a lot for your presentation.
Yes.
So, and it's, you want any personal comments sent in to you as soon as
Yeah,
possible?
I was going to say, I'll be sending Lizzie and Carla probably the slide pack and then the maps and the placement information to cascade out to you. And then if you reply back to the High Street's email, which I'll send it from, then I can collate them all and then send them on and do it that way.
Okay. Quick one.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask, did you want, and question for us as well, do we want to put all of our comments to the office or directly, just I don't want you getting overwhelmed with 14 different people throwing comments at you?
Ideally, it would be a collated response,
Yeah.
so just in case there's any
No,
contributions.
that's absolutely fine. So if we, so
Yeah.
councillors, obviously, if we give our feedback to Leslie and Carla, and they'll send it forward.
That'd be great.
Okay. Thank you.
And are you looking for any sort of resolution from council, or is this going ahead anyway?
It's going ahead anyways, just let us know if there's anything we've missed or,
Okay.
yeah, anything else you can improve or change.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Great.
You're welcome to stay.
No one will blame you if you don't.
In the dry, in the warm.
Okay, then. Up next is to approve the minutes of the full council of finance, Tuesday, September 10th, which is page 1. Thank you. Anything from anyone else? Alex?
I was just going to move things as a record.
Okay, there was a second for that. Second for Dan. So the vote, please.
Oh, sorry, I can't second.
Yeah, I was going to say you heard it.
And second. All those in favour? Against? And abstentions? Thank you. Okay. Are there any matters arising, otherwise not covered by the agenda, Alex?
I just wanted to say, obviously, there's been more comms around the roadworks, and obviously the ones on the, not the A38, the A1, but that road has started to ease, lanes have been reopened. Obviously, the A38 work is still ongoing, as I said, as previously commented. YTL have until early November to remove all those roadworks. complete the work, remove them. And the planned works around the flyover, just outside of Filton, are being delayed. Two reasons. Actually three reasons. One is some feedback from Royal Mail, their concerns around Christmas time. Two is the feedback from residents. They've been subject to an awful lot of roadworks and fair feedback, so we've looked at providing some relief. And the other is we believe there is a time and cost saving that could be achieved by putting some activities together. So we've taken a pause and looking at where we can put those.
Okay. Anyone else? Public participation, we have anything in?
No, but it might be a good time to introduce Simon.
This, our new tank art speakers, just,
Soon to be appointed at the end of the month, just here to observe how we roll.
okay, so we shall move on in that case to income and expenditure reports for month 5, pages 2 to 20. Alex.
Just start. I've got a couple of questions. Obviously, not expecting direct answers, just we can take them away. Some I think have the answer. I just want to check. So 203 on page 2, Millennium Green. It's at 300%. So its budget is 500. We spent 1,400. I'm assuming that's the ecological survey around Millennium Green. Fantastic. The other question I did just have, simply perhaps because of how it's named, 301 roads and highways. What's the actual responsibility there? Because obviously we have very few, if any, roads under our jurisdiction, because they're either South Ross or Highways England. So, and it doesn't have, it's not a nothing amount. There's £4,000 against it, and we spent 700.
Can I get back to you on that?
Yeah,
one?
of course. Yeah.
It used to be bus shelters and things like that, but we don't have any of them.
Yeah. Capital projects, just looking at the spend to date, it's 10,000 over budget. Obviously, we have rolling capital. Do we know what the additional spend's been on? That's 909 capital projects expenditure on page 3.
Likewise, let's get back to you on that.
Yeah, that's actually fine. Just scrolling through, just check. Page 7, item 4042, equipment maintenance. Spent almost twice budget, so we're at 4,000 with a budget of 2,000. So I'm expecting that's probably something around the new street cleanse.
Could be.
But yeah, if we can just check. As I said, the main reason for checking these is if we need to uplift the budget for future.
Yeah.
You know, just make sure we understand.
I think it's to do with the guys' equipment. They've had
Yes.
some new tires and-
Same on page 8, 4037 grounds maintenance, 1,471 versus 500. That's everything from. Yeah, it's everything from me. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Dan?
Just a question around activation and where we're sitting with them, and if we have any kind of quarterly reports or anything. I missed a couple of apologies, so I may have missed it.
So there's no quarterly reports at the moment. They're waiting for the, what do you call it, when you come in the turnstile thing that
Automated, yeah.
it will feed back the reports. So we're just waiting on those to be complete at the end of the month. What the other question? So their business manager is going to be coming to these meetings, but they just keep clashing with his league at the moment. So hopefully that will settle out.
It was just financial, are we on track with their payments?
Financially, they're always months behind, but we're aware of that and we've kind of agreed that for now.
Okay, and then lastly, the leaky ceiling, there was probably a few months ago, but there's a hole in the gym ceiling. Is that
I'll have to find out.
in progress?
Can they guarantee on the building, like we get a new build?
Yeah.
Yeah, just hoping that that is being covered by Speller under warranty or
Yeah.
etc.
So for a weight really high.
Did you have your hand up?
No, I was going to ask the same thing that Dan just asked. I was going to ask, just double check that they were on track with payments. It sounds like they are.
Any other councillors? No? Okay. We want to number 11,
You tell me like I was, did you ask me that?
No, I was just thinking of
What you asked me
wait for when representative Max
Oh, yeah,
actually comes
okay.
to one of the meetings.
Yeah.
so I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so next is balance sheet, pages 21 and 22.
They're also coming to my leaving thing, so that'd be a good opportunity to speak to them.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can get away from work.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody okay with those? Cool. Number 10, bank reconciliation, pages 23, 24. Everybody okay with that? Cool. Okay, so move on to reports from committees, working groups, and the town clerk. So first, I believe is staffing committee, minutes of their meeting held 8th of October.
Any questions from anyone? I'll have to let them know. Any member of staff in here, I'll have to field any questions.
Yeah, Dan.
Was it held today?
No, we're in the co-op. So we're going to hold it at the end, but we're still not got all the staffing committee enough to carry on.
So it's not 8th of October, so it's thanks to-
I realised the
Yeah.
date there, and I was like, that's not. No, there was original plan, so the second would usually have been held, I want to say it's the first, but annual leave got in the way of that. So we rescheduled to have in front of this meeting, which point unfortunately it's not been quorate. Our dear Mr. Monk come down with sickness and others, so
Okay, in that case, we move on to the budget subcommittee.
they've not met recently. I will, people probably need to be refreshed in order to make sure we are holding those. So, and particularly as we get towards the budget for the new year.
Okay. Neighbourhood plan working group. Is there anyone here from that? You're filling all of
Yeah,
them.
so the neighbourhood plan working group, so the last session we went through the priorities that we discussed as a group. Then Carla very kindly summarised those, passed them to the group. Some comments were passed back. I now believe they've been fielded to our South Gloss contact to provide any advice on what we're doing is sensible and appropriate. And then the next group will be looking at that feedback and should all be well, starting to look at how data capture for those topics needs to go.
Okay, thank you. Conclusion of annual governance and accountability return. There's 23, 24, pages 25 to 28.
So this is more commonly known as the external audit, for those that weren't aware of that. Nothing major to report on that, happy to say.
Yes, sir.
The one question I wanted to ask, because all looks broadly very good. Our internal auditor, they obviously wanted us to confirm their independence. Is that a formality or what's?
Yes, it's a formality we do at the annual meeting. We hadn't done it the year before.
Okay, so that's what's called.
Yeah, so we've got a 3-year contract with the internal audit, so it didn't seem necessary to do it each year, but it was a box I needed to tick.
Okay. And Wessex Reserves lease agreement.
It was
So, I meant to print that off before I came out, but I haven't. What did they say?
They want to come and talk about video and then release without they're not developing the site anymore. So they want to come and give their proposal of what they're going to do. As long as everyone's happy for them to come, then we can.
Okay. So that gets kicked back to a later meeting. Okay.
I thought they just wanted us to renew the lease for now. They actually want to come present still, do
I
they?
think they're doing.
Okay.
I think they're interested in liaison.
Here we go, Dan and Alex.
They are living on a discounted rate, I think, at the moment. Is it worth getting a market rate and then being able to kind of present that and then say, and then decide a discount on that as we feel fit, rather than just rolling with what has been going on for, is it 1,500 for however many?
We put it up we did put it up a few years ago, but there's literally, could be more, I'm sure.
Obviously, it's a useful place for asset for the area, so I wouldn't want to charge it a market rate, but I think having an idea of what that could be might be a valuable thing to see as a council what we adjust, or if we adjust. That's very important.
And just for my own awareness. One of obviously, I don't know why it was a sticking point is the wrong word, but obviously previously when they were considering developing the site, we were obviously just asking to understand what that development was before we agreed to a new lease. I'm assuming if we agreed to a new lease, that doesn't then give them permission to then undertake the development once everyone's signed on the dotted line. They would still need our permission if they wanted to.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's in there.
So, I said, more not saying they can't develop the site, it's just a case, as we kept saying, just tell us what you're going to do so we can see if we think it's good.
Anyone? Would you?
If we are inviting them to come to talk to us before we agree the lease renewal, would it also be worth contacting sort of local residents to see if anybody else has any comments that they might want to make? And I know when they were talking, there were discussions about parking and all sorts of things, weren't there?
Yeah, it'd always be worthwhile asking general
Yeah.
local opinion.
It'll be a public meeting, so then the
Yeah.
public can come.
Anyone else? I think we're on the last one, payments for information, pages 29 and 30. Alex?
Not for payments for information, so if anyone has any questions on that, there's no area to talk about active nation. There were two questions that I had perhaps for the clerk and officer to consider with them. What were they? The first was just whether or not Active Nation have any thoughts on the car park, given the introduction of chargeable car parks across South. So again, I know, and in agreement with them, they are very against putting any charges down because they don't want to discourage people to use the facility and use the park. But I know they've had in the past concerns about displaced parking and people parking all day, not using any of the local facilities or green spaces and just going elsewhere. So I don't know if they have any thoughts or any concerns there.
So originally they were keen to put in a parking scheme, but it's difficult with the community centre piece as well. And I thought it was the council that were against the scheme more so than actually.
Or would you go, we were against any sort of chargeable scheme,
Yeah.
but.
This was a 3-hour free parking if
Yeah.
you use the
And
facility.
so it's just a thought, and maybe it's a monitor for the moment and see what the display, if any displaced parking occurs. Filton doesn't have too many South Gloss car parks, so it's minimally affected.
I'll feed that back to them and see what they do.
I think, they did a bit of a survey when, at the start to see if there weren't many cars that were parking for the day for South Green. I guess that came back as pretty low, otherwise they would have kicked up a lot of fuss, but,
They do, there are a fair few, aren't there, who coming in the morning as cars.
I mean, personally, I would support a 3-hour free, and then anything over that, you have to put your reg in. Lots of kind of pub car parks do it right in the area and that sort of thing. I don't think that's a particularly big imposition if you're on the playing field having a day in the sunshine at the Filton Festival. So have to nip in to do that. If it's got a signpost in, if you're using the facilities, then you have to make sure that you guys.
No, yeah, come back to you.
It'll get me
So I got the cafe and the Kellaway tool hire place, but one under the assumption that they will be charging for the Station Road car park, and one on the assumption that we won't. So they definitely won't.
As far as I'm aware, well, so there was a presentation given out, as far as I'm aware, that was not shown on there. I think there were 2 roads, one church, it's a church road, and one is the train station.
So they both come to me with, and I'm like, I'm not sure which one of these.
The general comment is that it is a very small car park, not the economical, so
Okay.
put the infrastructure.
Probably
And then-
forgets if the other one's paying, isn't it? And they're all careful.
The other question was about, just I've seen it happen a few times, just councillor entry to the centre for council business, and happy that it should be monitored because, not saying any councillors would, but councillors shouldn't be using it just to enter the facility, because I have seen a few times where in order to sign in and out, I've had to pull someone away from reception, or I've been in the way once or twice when I'm trying to sign the book and someone with additional needs needs to sort of walk through. So just any way to smooth that sort of transition.
Yeah, so once this entry system is completed, there will be some sort of pass or.
As I said, I'm more than happy. I think they should be monitored just to make sure that
Yeah.
not that any councillor here would, but a future councillor does not decide to take a micro.
Okay. Any other points from any of the councillors? In which case, the agenda is covered, and I close the meeting. Thanks for being gentlemen.
Next time.
Well done. Well
Fair play, I think we'll be happy with that.
I think so. Oh my God, I see that.
Yes, yes.